very warm welcome to the Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup highlight show with myself, Simon Webb. It's the opening night of the Pairs Cup and we've got the defending champions back in action, ready to try and get their defence up and running. They're not going to have it all their own way. It's a tricky little group, but they will be the favourites. But let's meet all the other players in action.
The Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup is back, and the ever-popular Monday night tournament promises to deliver yet more incredible 8-ball drama. We start where we left off as Karl Sutton and Shaun Chipperfield return to start the defence of their title. They opened in week 1 in 2021's edition, so we'll be hoping that's a good omen for them. Shaun Chipperfield is a former world champion whose free-flowing game needs no introduction, and as for Karl Sutton, he arrives into the Pairs Cup in red-hot form, having taken down his maiden Pro Series title last weekend in Blackpool. They'll take some stopping. Elsewhere, an opening to make a name for yourself for our next 3 pairs, starting with Matt Barcock and Wayne Gardner. The Leicestershire lads are in good nick this season, coming in as county champions, and Wayne, as a former England international, will be looking to lean on that experience here this evening. Elsewhere, a couple of Stokies make the step up as Zach Cooper and Lee Hammersley represent the local area. A couple of local league standouts, an amazing opportunity for both. And for our final pair, Hertfordshire is represented as Welwyn Garden City and Letchworth Garden Cities respectively. Andy Barker and Kev Sutton enter the arena. A great night in store for us in week number 1 of the Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup.
So a very intriguing lineup indeed. Does see the defending champions as the big favourites for the group, and the other 3 all trying to cause a bit of a shock. The defending champions, though, will be in the second match of the night. Our opening match sees Andy Barker and Kev Sutton up against Matt Barcock and Wayne Gardner. And it was Matt and Wayne that got off to the best possible start with a beautiful break clearance in the opening Scotch frame. Let's go straight into frame 2, where Kev's at the table.
No surprise to see the safety shot there. Things didn't really come out on the developing shot. So Andy Barker's first attempt at a pot, it was a long one. If it goes in, there's 1 ball tied up, but the rest go, so it would have been half a chance. I would say I try and get a gauge, especially for the players playing on TV for the first time and in this environment for the first time. And for me, Andy seemed the most nervous ahead of play earlier on. Now that may have been just more because of the interview than the game itself.
We often see that, though. Players are often more nervous about the interviews than they are actually about playing. I don't know what that says about your chat, Simon.
Yeah,
but
it says a lot more about me than them, I think. But what a shot there. That was absolutely fantastic from Wayne. Beautiful shot just to open the frame up. Needs another good one now, but at least everything goes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, another roll would have been beautiful, but not too bad. He's still got the yellow in the middle, or hampered queuing on the one at the bottom, but yellow probably at the middle looks better. The problem he's got to get to the cue ball to the top left-hand side of the table. Can he do it straight away? He can. Needs an angle, and he's got one. A lot of traffic in the way on this shot here. Pick which side of the table you want to come down and commit. You see he's playing this with a chaser running. See, top right-hand side, wants to avoid the reds. What a beautiful shot once again. I love that. He didn't try and overhit it. Played it at a lovely pace, allowed the spin to take. I have to say, this Barcock and Gardner partnership look bang on it right at the start of this match.
Yeah, they do. Wayne looks really comfortable. He's our former England international, as I mentioned. He's got to cue this one well, though. Just make sure. Yeah, all good. Wayne Gardner then puts his team 2-0 in front.
Well, a beautiful finish there from Wayne Gardner to put his partnership 2-0 in front. Let's jump straight into frame 3, where Matt Barcock is at the table, looking to do likewise.
It is worth playing a loss of turn, though, for sure. He could just play an easy safety to the bottom of the table, but if he gets that red out off the table, it really helps him. There he goes. And he does avoid the 8-ball, not a surprise, and that's not bad at all.
Yeah, lovely shot. Good vision as well.
Has left the red onto the top right, but that's not the end of the world. He wouldn't mind seeing Kev go for this and make it, to be honest with you, because his odds of clear are so slim.
I was just about to say, I think he's almost dangled the carrot and said, well, if you want to take it on, be my guest. Kev Sutton is going to take it on, I think. Tried to open things up in one fell swoop, couldn't do it, and now it's a reasonably presentable chance for Andy Barcock. 8 ball's still a problem for him, and the yellow that's next to it, of course, therefore is also a problem, but he's got plenty of balls around it, and I think he's going to go the slow way. Just going to hide the white. Yep, nice. Clever.
Yeah, has he got the snooker? Probably has. Even if he hasn't, not the end of the world. He could have gone a different way there. He could have potted a ball and then left an angle to play the developing shot and be more aggressive, but say patience isn't the worst thing, and he's got his reward.
Cue ball in hand. Big opportunity.
Yeah, and almost a training exercise here. Ideally, leave the yellow over the left centre pocket as last ball. Drop that one in, and you're on the 8 ball. For that reason, I'd be tempted to clear the top of the table first. Yeah, that's much better. The only reason you wouldn't is if you're feeling not that confident, you'd be like, oh, well, I've got a safety net of having that one over the top left. But in these rules in particular, you've got to back yourself when you get these presentable opportunities. And for me, he's going the right way here.
Yeah, and the one thing you would say about the pairing of Barcock and Gardner is they're very used to these rules. They've both been really prevalent on the Challenger Series this year. And, I mean, we've seen this year how lethal the Challenger Series has been. And everyone who you speak to who's on it almost like can't quite believe how difficult it is. You know, you've got top quality players who are struggling to sort of, you know, reach anywhere near the latter stages. As Matt and Wayne have found a little bit this year. Two good players.
2 very good players. 288 players on the Challenger Series. Just 288, and they can all play. They can all really play. You know, it's incredible, really. You've got so many of those players could, you know, go on and win a tournament, would do okay if they got themselves into the pro arena. It really is a very, very volatile and tough place to play, but that makes it very exciting. Good shape here. Could have done with an extra 2 or 3 rolls down the table. They play this with a little bit of, yeah, a little bit of side. You see that? Just to hold the white to the left-hand side of this yellow, and as expected, leave the one over the left centre as last ball. Love the way he's gone through this visit.
Yeah, gone about it very smoothly. There's Matt Barcock. Lovely work.
Well, a very well played frame there from Matt Barcock to put his side 3-0 in front and in a very strong position indeed. Barker and Sutton did pull a frame back in the next to make it 3-1, but it was too little too late, as you can see here. Wayne Gardner clearing up to make it a 4-1 victory and give his partnership the best possible start. So let's move on to match 2 and see how the defending champions Karl Sutton and Shaun Chipperfield get on. We're going to join it in the opening frame with Shaun Chipperfield breaking.
Here's the defending champs, Shaun Chipperfield and Karl Sutton. And to start with, they are going to have to defend from their seats. It's going to be first poke to the Stokies as Cooper and Hammersley come to the table. Don't think Shaun can quite believe he's broken dry there, but a decent split for Zach and Lee to go at. Here is Zach at the table. And he busts open that red, but has it gone nice? I think it goes, but it's a little bit awkward now.
It is awkward. Tough pot to the top right now. Keep things going. Maybe clip one back to the bottom of the table. Not sure it goes through the gap, actually. So it could have come out a little bit kinder. Oh, how about that? Floats one into the top right-hand corner and just slides through the gap.
Yeah, Lee, first shot on TV, mate. How are you feeling?
Absolutely. I mean, I thought he was going to take the one in the middle of the table because it was the easier pot, but the positional side of things was certainly not the easier. And well, that's given him a real chance. Could have done with keeping the cue ball a roll higher there. Now too straight on the one in the middle to get down the table. See that from the overhead. If anything, they're a roll too far. Interesting, there's no communication between the two at all in this visit. They're playing their shot and just getting on with the next shot. Oh, good pot. Wasn't sure that one went from where he was, and that actually makes a huge difference because that opens everything up. And the reason I mentioned the no talking is that it's interesting because you know, we've seen Scottish foot tournaments before, and that's one of the rules, no talking. But it's one of the dynamics that we absolutely love in the pairs, is that you can have that communication, whether you're playing a singles frame or a Scotch. And now in really good shape. Just make sure you come back past straight this time. You want to finish high on the last red.
Don't go in off. Yeah, that's high. Just,
yeah, just.
Pinch the pocket here a little bit. And just drop underneath this 8-ball. Good start, this. If this can go. Just a little bit of work to do. Just get over the line.
Yeah, just finish it off. Probably the double now.
Yeah. All right then, Lee. It's 1-0.
No, thrown a long way wide.
Oh, disappointing effort there from Lee. He would have wanted to make that double and get his partnership off to the best possible start, but he didn't, and then that was punished because the Chipperfield and Sutton partnership, they took their time, had to play a few safety shots, a couple of snookers here and there, just to get the ball as they wanted them, but they did complete the clearance and go 1-0 in front. So let's jump straight into frame 2 and Zach Cooper with the break.
Yeah, and as good as we know he is, it was still a shock because of where he's been with Ultimate Pool. It was a shock to him as well. I think mentally he got himself in a better place going into the tournament, but I think even though that was the case, it was still a surprise. But having said that, so deserved. The way he played, the level he played at through the whole tournament was exceptional. Almost from ball one of his very first match. But he's going to sit and watch right now because it's his partner, Shaun Chipperfield, at the table, looking to get a reverse clearance on the board. Decent enough opportunity here, everything in the open, just a little bit congested around the centre of the table. Next shot, actually, the awkward one. The red right in the middle of the table does go top right, will go top left once the others are out the way as well. So there is room. And as you can see from the overhead there, the one just above his hand does go into the opposite centre pocket, which is where he's playing for it now. Not sure he's happy with the angle he's left here, and being on the cushion, hard to manipulate it. Almost have to accept natural, and the natural is probably going into the yellow, not guaranteed. Good position. Yeah, that's what he's just looking at, and that's why he's calling the extension.
Yeah, work to do for Chippy here. And plenty more work to do. That's not gone nice. Does he have a shot? Does that sneak by and go into the corner pocket? If it does, he's okay.
Yeah, it does. He's a little bit fortunate for this still to go. Got his cannon wrong.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, he's okay. Look at that.
He's such a good potter. He really is. Gets himself out of trouble a lot of times.
Yeah, fabulous potter, and what almost makes it look more impressive is the speed of which he plays.
Yeah, it almost feels like he's not down on the shot before he's pulling the trigger.
Job done for Shaun Chipperfield. Super from him.
Oh, Shaun Chipperfield doing Shaun Chipperfield things. Put himself in a little bit of trouble there, but he's such a good potter. Got himself out of trouble and completes the reverse clearance to make it 2-0. And in the next frame, Karl Sutton did what he had to do, and he made it 3-0 as well. And time run out in frame 4. So a very comfortable 3-0 victory for the defending champions as they get their defence up and running. Let's move into match number 3, where the two losers were playing each other. The first two frames were fairly well drawn out. It went one apiece with about 5 minutes on the clock. Let's join it in that third frame.
As Andy told me earlier, Challenger Series is almost like a whole new ball game for him.
I think, speaking to Kev about it, he's just loving the challenge, though. He's loving learning, he's loving playing these players, and he feels like he's improving every single time he plays. And hopefully he can take that experience from tonight as well, even if it doesn't go his way. At the moment, he has to sit and watch dry break, but it is a messy layout around that centre pocket.
Yeah, it's one of those where you're not upset that your opponent's going for it, probably in this exact situation. Because look at the match clock here. 4.5 minutes left, and there has not been much taken off this match. And this crucial stage is 1-1, by the way. You just never quite know.
Yeah, there's a plant there on the yellows. I was about to say the yellows are actually not that bad. If you play the plant, okay, plays it that way, which works. The reason I was thinking if he could have come lower down with the cue ball, he could have opened up the 8 ball in the same shot, and then he would have left one over the left-hand centre pocket as his connection back to the rest. Now he's got an 8 ball, which is a problem for him. He may well just accept it is where it is and back himself to make a double.
Work to do here, mind.
Difficult to hold yellow to yellow now. May have to play a little cannon into the yellow and stay on it. That's not too bad. He can get the cue ball into the sort of middle near the triangle area here, or certainly on line, so he can play on the double.
Ooh, slow down, he says.
He's just about okay. If he can just get the cue ball out of the way, he'd have to hit this pretty firm. It's tight though. I think the double kiss is on. Yeah, double kiss was in the way. Just too high on it to play the double. Had to really get into the cue ball to avoid it.
Yeah, this will show it nicely.
Well done, Kev. They are all there for you. All that practice. Your opportunity here with 2 minutes 40 seconds left on the clock to get yourself and Andy 2-1 ahead and in the driving seat in this match. For me, this is all about the 2 on the bottom left. Probably gonna have to take the 1 over. Well, you definitely have to take the 1 over the pocket first, and then you can play the 1 above it. But I wouldn't want to be playing them back to back.
I'm loving this. So used to seeing Kev Sutton 12 foot up a ladder over the top of a pool table, and here I am seeing him swan around and pot some balls. It's great to watch.
I'd love to see him take the 1 to the bottom left now, get the cue ball back to the middle of the table. I don't like leaving the 2 at the bottom as your last 2 balls. You can't, they're doable, don't get me wrong, they are doable. They're definitely doable now.
Play a great shot there.
Just screw up the line. Oh, he's played into it. Risky, but big shot now.
Well, this for the leads. Kev Sutton and Andy Barcock.
Yeah, well played.
.90 seconds to go. And Zach Cooper and Lee Hammersley staring elimination in the face. And look at Kev Sutton playing the clock. Like a wily old veteran, the light man. 2-1.
So Kev Sutton puts his side in front with that clearance there to make it 2-1, and that would be enough because time ran out in the next frame. So they keep themselves in the night. Cooper and Hammersley are knocked out with that loss. They will still play their 3rd match, but they can no longer progress through. Let's move on to match 4, where we see the 2 winners in action. We're going to see the defending champions, Sutton and Chipperfield, up against Barcock and Gardner. And we're going to join it in the opening frame, Shaun Chipperfield breaking.
And here is a matchup between our 2 winners from the opening round, Shaun Chipperfield and Karl Sutton, Matt Barcock and Wayne Gardner. And Shaun Chipperfield has just absolutely mullered this break. Parks that cue ball in the centre of the table, makes a couple of balls. You can see the taps on the knee straight away from Matt Barcock. He knew. Has he been a little bit unlucky with where this cue ball's gone, or are Reds still okay?
Yeah, Reds are still on here, but wow, he flushed that break, didn't he? Look at the way he parked that cue ball, gets kicked up the top of the table, but absolutely flushed it.
Yeah, they're on that red at the top of the table, so now they can get to work. Old Chippy and Carlos.
A key here for the finish. It looks really, really simple, but the key here is just making sure you leave a good angle on your last ball at the top of the table, just to track down nicely onto the one at the bottom. Straight on the one to the right centre would probably be their easiest way, because you just top it through, get straight on the one to the bottom left-hand corner. If they leave one to the top left as their last ball, there'll be plenty of, last ball at the top that is, there'll be plenty of traffic in the way. But of course, if they leave the one to the right centre and they don't get straight, then they could have problems as well. So it's not as simple as it looks right now.
Yeah, I love all this when you sort of, because sometimes when players are playing individually, they're very much playing their own minds, but when you get the pair of them going out, you see the cues come out and have a bit of a debate on where they want to go, and you can almost see the game being thought out in front of you. It's fascinating to watch, I think.
Yeah, and I thought that was really good there from Shaun as well. Love listening to them talk, and you saw him point straight away. And as I said, if you don't get straight, you could end up with a problem. So what he's done is he's gone past straight to come down the left-hand side of the table, because there's more margin of error playing that shot. Okay, in the end he went a little bit too far past it, which made holding the cue ball tricky. But I love the thought process that we get to see from a former world champion there.
Tricky shot. He's just flown it straight in very Shaun Chipperfield fashion. This for 1-0 then for Karl Sutton. Never in doubt. Excellent start from the reigning champs.
Great start there from Karl Sutton and Shaun Chipperfield. A lovely clearance from the break to put them 1-0 in front. And things would get better in the next frame as well, because Karl Sutton with a lovely reverse clearance made it 2-0. Now Shaun Chipperfield is in action in frame number 3 and he's at the table.
Didn't want the cannon. He was trying to avoid it. Still okay. He's touch lucky to still have a shot on here. Oh, he's not going to take it. He's going to go safe. That's why he looked to see whether that yellow was frozen to the cushion or not, because he knew he wasn't hitting the cushion with any other ball. So it obviously wasn't. Have to hit a cushion after contact, remember. If it was frozen, it wouldn't count as hitting the cushion.
And Matt's going to have to play a hell of a shot here. Not even an easy hit, really. Oh, you can't come closer, and hitting that red is no good. You must hit a cushion after contact, even when you're snookered. He's nearly played a fabulous shot here. Oh. I think the cue balls is the same size as the object ball. He's hit that.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, especially as obviously when you're snookered, you still have to hit a cushion after contact. It feels very harsh in that situation. Difference between having a chance to still win the frame and not was, well, less than half a millimetre there.
I must say, in that specific scenario, it seems like a harsh rule, but it is one of actually, ironically, my favourite rules in international rules, because it just stops all semblance of, it just keeps everything so open.
Yeah, like so many of the rules in international 8-ball rules, it keeps the game really simple and it keeps it flowing, and I'm all for it, I really am.
Shaun Chipperfield gets the job done, 3-zip.
A rare safety shot there from Shaun Chipperfield, but that earned him an opportunity, and he made no mistake with the clearance to put his side in a very strong position at 3-0 in front. Barcock and Gardner did get the next on the board to make it 3-1, but it was too little too late, because Shaun Chipperfield came up with a break clearance in frame number 5 to get the victory 4 frames to 1. And now if we take a look at the league table, 2 wins from 2 mean Chipperfield and Sutton sit at the top of the table and in a very strong position. All they need to do in their final match of the night is a win or a draw, and they will progress through. Barcock and Gardner, Barker and Sutton each have a win and a loss, meaning they are on 2 points. They can still make it through via a 6-red shootout, but they do need Chipperfield and Sutton to lose their final match, and Cooper and Hammersley are out. So let's move on to match number 5 and see if Matt Barcock and Wayne Gardner can get themselves to 4 points and give themselves a chance of that 6-red shootout. They're up against Hammersley and Cooper, and we're joining in the opening frame with Zach Cooper at the table.
So that's why he was so edgy on that shot and has probably forced the miss, because he's really looking at where that cue ball's contacting the 8-ball.
Love this choice. Love this choice by Zach. That was going to be a little nervy finish there. 8-ball on the cushion, red next to the yellow. They've decided to play safe. They won't mind if they get out the snooker because it's moving the red, then the yellows become more comfortable.
Can Matt Barcock find a way to pot it? Can he find a way to pot it? Oh, wow. Oh, dear. It's not been Cooper and Hammersley's night.
Huge fluke, held up his hand straight away.
Over to you, Wayne, mate. Pot this one.
Just for a second. And this is why you shouldn't get too annoyed when your opponents make a fluke, because without the fluke, the clearance was going to be tricky because the 8-ball was always going to stay on the side cushion. Now they've had the fluke. This is a far easier clearance now for Zach and Lee. Far easier.
Yeah.
See too many people get annoyed when their opponent makes a fluke. Wait till the end of the frame to see whether it works out in your favour or your opponent's favour.
Simple finish in the end then for Zach Cooper and Lee Hammersley. Easy as you like, 1-0.
Oh, Matt and Wayne nearly pulled off some magic there, but it wasn't to be, and that means they go 1-0 down in a match they absolutely need to win. Let's move on to frame number 2 and see if Wayne Gardner can get something going for them.
I think he can play the double and weld the cue ball near the top cushion and you're not leaving a red on. Well, he could, but he's missed the double.
And he hasn't got that cue ball close to the top cushion. And Zach Cooper's got a bit of a chance.
Yeah, maybe a double for him. It could still cut, you know. It could cut.
Perfect position. Shot.
Yeah, that was a loose one, you have to say, from Wayne, because to him it would have felt like a free shot if he got the cue ball right, but he did not get that cue ball right. Still a huge 8-ball coming up here. Little bit unfortunate for Zach to finish so straight that he couldn't get the cue ball out at all.
Yeah, how's your cueing, Zach?
Oh,
shots.
What a shot
that is.
Have some of that.
Oh, what a shot there from Zach Cooper. A brilliant pot. They may not be able to make it through tonight, but Zach will remember that pot for a very long time indeed. Puts his partnership 2-0 in front, or more importantly, Barcock and Gardner 2-0 down, and the clock is starting to hurt them as well. They did manage to pull a frame back in the next to make it 2-1, but as we join them in frame 4, very little time on the clock. Can they pull something out the fire?
Still noticeable there's no communication between the players in these Scotch frames.
Oh, I've left a carrot. A dangled one here for Barcock and Gardner. How much do you want it, lads?
Oh, there's a gap. There's always a gap. Great chance now to tie things up with enough time for a clearance in another frame. This looks good. I don't think Matt's happy with the angle. I think he saw things different to Wayne there, but this is okay.
Yeah, nice.
That was a good shot. I thought he might drop it in and play the one along the bottom cushion. As long as you leave angle, you get onto the one he's on now, but he saw it differently and he played it perfectly.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Perfect. From Barcock and Gardner, they tie things up. 1:23, that clock stops.
Matt and Wayne doing everything they can to give us a little bit of drama at the end of this match, but with 1:23 left on the clock and a successful break we can see here from Zach Cooper, he was able to run the clock down and guarantee the draw. So the points are shared. It means both partnerships are now out of the competition, and we're down to a very simple scenario. If Sutton and Chipperfield win their last match or draw their last match, they go through. If Kev Sutton and Andy Barker get the win in the last match, then we will go through to a 6-red shootout between those two pairs. So let's join that match in the very opening frame. Shaun Chipperfield with a break.
Andy Barker and Kev Sutton looking to spring an almighty surprise and beat the reigning champions. If they do, it's 6-red shootout time. But they're going to have to really earn it, because Shaun Chipperfield is breaking like a train tonight. And he keeps giving him and his partner chances. And what an opportunity this is.
Yeah, what a chance this is. I mean, that's some break, isn't it? Wow. And this opening frame actually is huge. I know it seems, you know, we're looking at the defending champions, 2 of the Ultimate Pool professionals, up against a couple of challenges here, but the pressure's all one-sided. I know Andy and Kev are wanting to get themselves into a 6-red shootout here, but I think for me, Shaun and Karl are the ones under it, and if they can get this frame on the board, and they get this frame on the board with a break clearance, it sets the tone, and it might just take some pressure off them. That's why I think this frame is now huge. Well, always going to be huge.
Yeah, you don't want to be trailing at any point, even if you've got all the experience that Shaun and Karl do.
Yeah, exactly. And they've just gone wrong slightly there, just slightly either under or over hit that positional shot, depending on whether they're trying to move that yellow further down the cushion or just playing on it, which I suspect they were. Which means they've now got to come back to that area of the table to play the yellow, which isn't easy, or play it as a double. This isn't... If they'd finished on that one down the cushion on that previous shot, they'd almost be out by now.
Oh, he's not happy with him, is Chippy.
I think he really wants to play the one at the bottom to get on the one on the left-hand side, but play that with an awful lot of running side to get there.
Yeah, this is the key shot in the visit. It's going to have to be the double, innit, says Chippy.
Not just the double. I've got to be careful with the positional side of the double as well. 8-ball not guaranteed to get on it. I don't think it goes to either of the top pockets, and therefore you've got to play for it into the middle.
Oh, it's a fascinating listening. Shaun's going to stun it. So we just heard.
Yeah, and where they're looking at here is a clip on the 8-ball into the right centre. Doesn't go top right corner, which would look obvious from where they are.
Drops that in beautifully. And a thin clip, but a clip. Very much on. For a very well navigated finish. Ah, it's great play from Sutton and Chipperfield. Super stuff.
Oh, very good there from the defending champions. Put themselves under a little bit of pressure with a loose positional shot there, but good enough to come up with the recovery shots to get over the line and get that clearance on the board and go 1-0 up in a match that they only need to get a point out of to make it through. Let's move on to the next frame. Shaun Chipperfield's taking on Andy Barker in a singles frame. We join it with Shaun at the table after a prolonged safety battle.
Oh, this frame is massive now, isn't it?
It's huge. Watch that match clock.
Yeah, I just think all of a sudden we're second half of the match, and if Andy Barker is huge favourite to win this frame right now, and if he wins it 1-1, the big favourites for tonight are under huge pressure.
That just puts the cat proverbially among the pigeons being the red balls.
I think Andy's just had a little look at a 3-ball plant here.
Oh,
Not sure it's on. If it is,
naughty.
Oh, it is on.
Oh, how about that? Lovely shot.
He got the cue ball wrong. He needed the cue ball to go another roll.
Oh, yeah, it's good news, bad news.
Yeah.
All his eyes are on the plant here. So are mine for a second, and yeah, he's rolled off the wrong side.
See how that second nudge on the red just made it not... Oh,
Shots.
a plant.
And now for 3 in a row. It doesn't get any easier.
It absolutely doesn't get... This is probably harder than the 2 he's already played, for honesty, because it's a tough pot, but the cue ball's going nowhere as well.
Potentially 2 times up and down here. great pot. How's your cue ball?
Oh, he's got short position. Little jaw.
What a shot that is. Andy Barker is pulling one out the hat here. It's there. What a finish.
Position's overrated. Just pot balls.
Oh, how good was that from Andy Barker? That was brilliant. 3-ball plant, 2-ball plant, tough pot, tough positional shot, really tricky 8-ball. All no bother for Andy. He manages to get the frame on the board, and it was all no bother with all the pressure on him as well. Remember, he has to win this match to have any chance of making it into a 6-red shootout. So that was fantastic. Over to you, he says. Kev Sutton now at the table taking on Karl Sutton. They've had a bit of a tactical battle. We're into the final 2 minutes of the night, and we still have no idea what's going to happen. Let's join it. Kev at the table.
He's taking these onside.
Yeah, if he was going to take him on, he had to play that firmer. Look at the path of the cue ball there. And if he plays that pot firmer, it throws a little bit wider. He's guaranteed to knock that yellow out. He can't miss the red and yellow. And now he's... Yeah, I don't even think he was trying to pot that previous shot, you know.
Wouldn't surprise me. Karl's got to get a wiggle on. A draw at the minute, remember, is fine for Shaun Chipperfield and Karl Sutton. They qualify with a draw. If Andy Barker and Kev Sutton can find a win, then they are taking us all the way to a 6-red shootout.
That's quite a good shot from Karl. It really is.
Ooh, he almost snuck it in there.
Can Karl get to the one to the top left? No. Double? Even if he plays the double, I don't think he can get the cue ball anywhere near the top of the table, and the double might not even be on from where he is. So, oh, he's played the loss of turn and not got it.
He wanted to knock that in. Oh, wow. Well then, Kev.
Oh, he's got a chance here. He's got a chance. Maybe this is the time. 55 seconds. Drop the one in the right centre and leave yourself angle on the one to the bottom left. He's not taking it on. He's going the other way. That was risky. Oh, and he's left Karl on this ball.
He's left him perfect.
Karl's trying to rush, and Shaun's telling him to slow down. He's not taking the right way, which is the one to the top right, because of the match situation.
Yeah, it's good thinking from Chippy.
And that's, you can talk to your opponent when he's at the table, and Shaun's definitely got involved there and done the right thing.
A little bit of coaching, and he says play the loss of turn, and the match is done. And he's absolutely right. He's not played the loss of turn. Oh, where's that 8-ball? Ooh. Oh my goodness me. Well, Karl Sutton and Shaun Chipperfield are through, and they nearly threw it all away, but the reigning champs are into round 2 of the Ultimate Pool Pairs Cup.
Oh, what drama we have just seen. I thought for all the money that 8-ball was going to drop in the centre pocket and we were going to go to a 6-red shootout. I think Karl probably did as well. His reaction told a big story there as well. What he was actually trying to do was fire the ball around the table, keep the cue ball on the spot with lots of spin on it, so that Kev would have to wait for that cue ball to stop before he could start his visit, kill a few more seconds on the clock and guarantee that they get the win. But it nearly came back to bite them, because he did not expect that 8-ball to be hit and go anywhere near a pocket. So much relief at the end for the defending champions, but they are through. Let's hear what they had to say in the studio afterwards.
Yes, it's hard watching your partner trying to get it home for you, but obviously in the end, I told him the shot to play, and it's just confusing. Like, he potted it, and then he then didn't know what to play, because he's trying to listen to what I'm telling him to do, but he's at the table. Oh, it was unbelievable. But yeah, then he sent the red round the angles, which I told him to, and then nearly cut the black in. So yeah, that was exciting anyway.
At any point did you think that 8-ball was in, or were you relatively okay with it?
Well, yeah, it's me. I'm just come cursed. Like, if that could happen to anybody, it's me.
Oh, a very happy and relieved set of defending champions there in the studio. They know they played the best pool on the night, and they really did. They played some great pool along the way, lots of very, very good finishes, some very clever play along the way as well. But it all came down to that final match and that final frame. In the dying seconds, I thought the 8 ball was going to drop. I think they probably thought the 8 ball was going to drop and they were going to have to do things the hard way via a 6-red shootout. So even though they played some great pool, huge relief to see them book their place in the second stage of the competition, where they can continue their defence in a few months' time. If you want to watch every single second of tonight back, you absolutely can. Go on to ultimatepool.tv, where you can watch the whole show back. Or if you're just looking forward to week 2, then you don't need to wait very long at all, because we'll be back for week 2 tomorrow night, the 11th of July, where we've got Jimmy Croxton and Liam White headlining the group. But up against them, Mark Oswald, Keith Warren, Glenn Carr, Craig Hart, Scott Rutter and Daryl Whitworth will certainly be hoping to have their say and hope they can book their place in the second stage of the competition. So if you want to watch that, that's tomorrow night. If you want to watch the highlights show, I'll be doing it again next week on YouTube. Make sure you tune in for that. But for now, thank you for your company and I'll see you soon.